Hey, everybody, it's Jamie Raskin calling out to all my friends in beautiful Maryland's 8th Congressional District, Frederick, Montgomery, Carroll counties. It's my favorite time of the week, local hero, when we get to recognize the people who make life in the 8th District such a wonderful and extraordinary thing, the people who've kept us going through the nightmare of COVID-19. And I get to recognize a really wonderful person today to close out Transgender Awareness Week. This is preceding Saturday, which is the Transgender Day of Remembrance, the day when the LGBTQ community and its allies honor the lives lost in acts of transphobic violence. But our local hero for this week is Amilynn Adams, who is a Marine Transportation System Specialist and Deputy Division Chief in the Waterways Risk Analysis and Support Division at the United States Coast Guard Navigation Center. It's a big mouthful, but what it means is she served 24 years on active duty in the NOAA Commission Corps in various operational and senior executive capacities, holding 3 successful command tours and earning the unofficial NOAA designation of Old Salt, having accumulated nearly 14 years of sea duty aboard NOAA ships. She publicly claimed her gender and her gender pronouns, she, her, hers, on June the 30th, 2016, which was the day the Secretary of Defense announced the end of the ban on transgender people serving openly in the military services. At the time of her coming out, she was the senior most openly trans person serving on active duty in all the uniformed services of the United States of America. She currently serves as vice chair of the Frederick Center, Frederick County, Maryland's only LGBTQ community support and advocacy organization, which just opened up its first physical office. Correct me if I'm wrong, Amilynn, but the grand opening was just this month in downtown Frederick, which unfortunately is not part of the 8th Congressional District, and yet they are very special to us nonetheless. So that was a big moment for the Frederick Center, which you are the vice chair of. We're recognizing you for your service to the country, your service to the state, the county, the community, the LGBTQ community. Congratulations on being our local hero, Amilynn.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And yes, you are correct. It was earlier this month. Our grand opening was November 6th. Really excited to have a physical location now in downtown Frederick. That was one of the things that, when we were paused for the pandemic, we took some calculated risks and developed a strategy, and we pursued. It was time. It was time to have a space for people in Frederick County. As you noted, Frederick is not in the 8th. However, we do serve the greater Frederick area. We have people coming from all over. So we're very inclusive. It comes with the nature of the work. And
you, of course, live in Frederick County, which is very cool. As I read your remarkable bio here, it made me reflect on the fact that it just was not that long ago when we were still discriminating against trans people in the military. I mean, we've come a long way since then in terms of the psyche of the country, I think. But what's it like to live through these like wrenching and enormous changes in kind of social and legal standing of trans people?
Isn't there, somebody said once that there's a certain culture that has a saying that says, it's a curse, may you live in interesting times.
Yeah.
From my perspective as a mariner, one of the things that we used to tell each other when we'd assume a watch was, may you have a boring watch, right? Have a boring watch. Hopefully nothing interesting happens. So
you had a boring watch in interesting times.
It's been an incredible journey. I think that's the best way to sum it up, right? Many experiences, many highs and lows. The highs outweigh the lows, of course. And like you noted, there seems to be a collective shift in the national consciousness as to the existence and validity of transgender people, trans identities, and even the existence of people who happen to be intersex as well. And it's important. And it's one of the reasons why I enjoy the work that I do with the Frederick Center.
And now you are not only proudly but openly out, right, in the world, and you're not facing discrimination and hostility at work, if you don't mind my asking. Is that right? Like,
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I have found a great home at the U.S. Coast Guard. When I retired from NOAA, I went and worked for Amazon for a little while, another great employer. But honestly, the culture of the Coast Guard, their commitment to the core values of honor, respect, and commitment, really all that matters as a Coastie, I'm a civilian Coast Guard employee, is can you contribute to the mission, which is really what matters in anything. And so, yeah, it's a great place to be. I couldn't be happier.
That's great. Well, let's
Yeah.
talk about the mission of the Frederick Center for a second. What is the mission there and how's that going?
So we are a community support and advocacy organization, and we have many, many programs. During the pandemic, we were able to continue a lot of our community outreach programs where we have facilitated discussions, usually with therapists and assistant. Prior to the pandemic, they were all in person. During the pandemic, we took the step to move those programs online. That was really a rewarding thing to get done. As I had mentioned, we did we came up with a strategic plan at the time, at the start. Let me just back up a little bit. At the start of the pandemic, we had no building, we had no permanent staff. We're an all volunteer organization. And one of the aspects of existing as a queer person in a largely cisgender heterosexual world is that there tends to be isolation. And so while everyone was impacted by COVID in some way or form related to isolation, our community already was pretty vulnerable. And so we recognized this fact and went and made the decision to move online with our programs, which was, in some regards, it was a positive. In some regards, it was a negative. The positives, we ended up getting people who had transportation barriers to attending our sessions or who were marginalized by family situations or other social conditions that were now able to remotely connect with like-minded people and provide support.
Well, so this is a big step. Along with the office goes a full-time executive director, right? Chris Fair.
That is correct. Yes, we've hired. Yeah. So sorry, I forgot, but we ended up hiring our first full-time staff member, our executive director, Chris Fair. We have a program coordinator as well, and we're looking at bringing on another part-time person to help with marketing and administration.
That's awesome. I mean, and it's just so important for young people who are facing their own questions about their sexual identity, their gender identity, to have a place where they feel they can go and get questions answered in a non-judgmental way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to be able to have a group, so our board is very representative of the community, and we all have brought, we've all managed to be somehow be successful in life despite previous barriers and obstacles. And so merely by existing, I've received that feedback occasionally of thank you for being visible. Most recently, I had a shipmate from when I was in the NOAA Corps come out and reach out to me and let me know that it was my example and my ability to show authenticity that inspired her to as well come out and live her truth.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, look, for that reason and so many more, you are a local hero. You've shown a lot of courage. You've shown a lot of professional excellence and loyalty to the mission. And just as the Coast Guard has been very lucky to have you, and NOAA, we're very lucky to have you in Frederick County and in our community. So thanks for everything that you do.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm a proud Marylander now.